gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right. Boom.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. It's been a while since I released a video and I apologize for that, but there honestly hasn't been a whole lot going on around here. And if you've seen our last video, you realize our garden took quite a hit from the moose getting into it and eating pretty much all of our produce. So it's recovered a little bit. We got some flowers. We're after getting a few strawberries since, so as I had hoped, they did recover, at least to give us another taste of some strawberries. But what brings me to make this video here today is, as you see, I'm next to my vehicle, my car, and I don't know if you can see it on the video right now, but this driver's side rear tire has been low the past couple of days, and I think it's just a slow leak. And so, being a slow leak, it's going to be difficult to track down exactly where it is, but we're going to attempt to find and patch that leak here today. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like this video, and follow us for some more content and our older videos. If you want to go back and view some of our stuff, that'd be great, and helps to support and grow the channel. And to the loyal subscribers up to this point, I appreciate you guys sticking around and joining on for the ride, and I hope you're enjoying the content as much as possible. So with all that said, we'll get to removal of this tire and see if we can track down where the leak is. Alright, so now that I got the tire removed, we can inspect the tire, have a look with your eyes, see what you see, and then we'll move on. So what you want to be looking for is any kind of sharp rocks, nails, screws, anything that may be penetrating the tire to explain the slow leak. And being a slow leak, sometimes right away you can tell that it's a puncture object and the object is still in there, because if the object had come back out, you would have a faster leak, okay, with the hole that it made. So that's kind of what I'm going into this looking for, is some kind of object inside of the tire. But if it's not there, then we'll move on to further investigation, which includes inflating the tire to a high pressure and possibly needing to put soapy water so that it can bubble, so that you find the spot. If you can't hear it with your ear. Sometimes you can hear it immediately with your ear. So since I removed this tire, I'll tell you right now, I've seen two culprits in this tire already. So The thing I don't want to do is jump to the conclusion that these two culprits that I've found are the root cause, because there's two objects in this tire. They don't necessarily go all the way through unless I know for sure, and there could be a third point where it's leaking. These objects are still inside the tire. They could be plugging the holes perfectly for all I know. So I want to figure out exactly where the air is escaping from. So I got my two culprits. They're easily marked. All right, there's a nail and a screw in this tire, but I'm still going to overinflate it, not by a lot, by like 10 psi or so, and have a listen to see if I can pinpoint where the air is coming out. Alright, so what I've done, the maximum pressure rated on this sidewall here says 44 pounds. I've brought it up to 40. Alright, so that's what we got the pressure currently at. So it's at this point in time now I'm going to be using my ear and see if I can hear anything obvious. Alright, so I do not hear anything obvious, okay? So we'll move on to the next part, which is putting some soapy water on this tire to see if we make any bubbles anywhere along the treads. Alright, when you're making up your little soapy liquid for testing your tire, nothing special, just a bit of palm olive here is what I'm using. And my daughter's little Halloween bucket from last year. Put a good bit in there. I'm just going to go add some water. I'll be right back. Alright, so before I begin with the soapy water, I'm just going to show you what I've already found. So this here is like a roofing nail. So that was probably me leaving a random nail out in the driveway, although I tried to avoid all that. And then back here we have a little tiny Robinson headed screw. It looks small enough that it might not have gone all the way through, but we will find out as we go. Once we remove the screw, if we start to hear the hiss, then we'll know that it's all the way through. As for the roofing nail, I think that's a guaranteed full puncture. Alright, I think that's going to be all the way through for sure, but we'll find it when I get the pliers on that and get that out of there. Alright, so with that said, I'm over here next to the garage door so that the soapy water that I pour on the tire will drain out through the door, mostly at least. I don't mind a bit of soapy water mess, it'll dry. But here we go, I'm going to show you now, just pouring soapy water over this, and hopefully we'll have a keen eye to spot any air that may be coming out. So I'll start with our obvious spots. Let's see if they're actively leaking. Alright, so right away, see if I can show you. Alright, so you see right there, obvious bubble growth, still getting bigger. Alright, so we do have an active leak at the site of this nail. Alright, I can pop these and it'll start growing a new one. Alright, so that's significant. We know there's an active leak at that nail. We'll go down to that screw now and see what we see there. Alright, so here we have the screw. I'll just zoom in on that. Okay, here we go. I'll Pour a little bit of water on there. See that? Very fine, fine bubbles are coming out of there. Alright, so we'll just do it one more time. No bubbles. Then the very fine bubbles begin building up. Alright, so with that done, we now know we have 2 active leaks. So what I'll do now is I'll just pour some extra water around the tire, although I am quite satisfied at this point that I've found the 2 problems. But just for good measure, I will saturate the tire. Have a good look here. If I see any bubbles, I'll pop them because they will re-inflate if there's a hole there. Alright, just get another little bit on there. I say this is the messy part, okay? So be prepared for this. Don't be doing this in the middle of your living room. Alright, no trouble to see those bubbles coming out of this nail. Look at that trail of bubbles all the way down. Alright, this is our big boy leak right there. Alright, look at those bubbles just trailing down like a little ladder. Alright, so I'm not seeing anything else. I think we found our main 2 spots. So I'm going to go grab pliers and our plug kit, and we'll come back and fix these 2 holes. So to get started with plugging a tire hole, first of all it's got to be a puncture hole, not a slash. Okay, you can't just put a plug in a slash, especially if it's on your sidewall. The tire's ruined. Alright, if the sidewall is compromised, your tire's done. Go, get rid of it, get a brand new tire, move on. Alright, this is only for small punctures like nails and screws that haven't torn beyond, okay? As well, that's assuming you have a good tire. Alright, like if I show you the treads of this tire, you know, in the tread there's a little raised nub, and the tire is considered good until it's worn down to the same height as that nub. And I got a good millimeter, 2 millimeters on top of this nub. Okay, so my tire is good. So this is a good candidate for plugging. It's not in the sidewall, and it's not a gash or a slash. Okay. So with that said, we'll continue on. So what I have here, this is just a pretty standard plug kit. This one is a Victor brand name. I picked this up a couple of years ago. And inside the kit, you're going to have a rasp. Alright, it's almost like a file. Alright, that's going to be used to roughen up the hole left by the screw to ensure good contact with the plug. Okay, that's your rasp. And you got some plugs, whether that's asphalt laden rope or whatever's in it. I don't even know. And then you got your plug inserter tool, I'll call it. Alright, so your plug inserter tool is almost like you know, the eye of a needle. But this spot up here at the top is actually not connected. The very tip is not connected. That's not a full circle. So you feed your plug through that hole so that it's halfway through. It doubles on itself. You stick this down in the hole. You withdraw it quickly so that the plug slips out between that space at the tip there and stays inside the tire. So we'll go over all that now as we actually do it, okay? So, to get started, I just got a, I don't even know what this is, little fork tool that came with one of my screwdriver sets. Alright, pretty standard in a regular kit, you'll get one of these. So I'm going to attempt to use this to withdraw the nail. There we go. There's a nice big hole. So now I'll take the rasp. So you're roughing up the inside of the hole. Okay, with the rasp. And try to stick it all the way through. There we go. Give it a good few turns. Now, just to keep a bit of air in the tire, I'm going to leave the rasp in there for now while I get my plug ready. Alright, so to get the plug ready, you see I've used one in the past already, so that one's gone. Now you try to peel this out. They are very sticky. Alright, that's your plug. Nice ooey gooey. Now we're going to thread the eye of the needle, right? Okay, this is our insertion tool. I find it good to smush the tip of this as much as you can. Then try to squeeze that in to the eye here. Alright, it's good and sticky, so you kind of gotta muscle it through there, okay? So I'm going about halfway with it, okay? Alright, so there you go, about halfway inside the eye of it. I'm going to be using this tip here to puncture into the tire. So it's going to go in like this. Okay? So that's a lot of material to fit inside the small hole that's in the tire. It's going to take a lot of effort, okay? I think last time I did this I actually used a hammer to get it past this point here. But you don't go until all of this is inside the tire, okay? You got to leave your tail sticking out. So leave like an inch tail on each side sticking out of the tire, and you'll trim that later. Alright, so let's try to get this in here. Alright, so I got my gloves back on, rubber mallet on standby if I need it. Let's get the tire straight up and down. Get you guys a good view. I think that's as good as it's going to get. Alright, so here we go. So I'm going to withdraw the rasp. I got my plug ready. Okay, put the tails down to either side. Rasp out. Watch your eyes. You don't see anything fly into your eyes. Alright, so you see our two tails sticking off to the side. And this is where the hard part comes in. Alright, so with a lot of grunting, breathing, straining, it's in there. Trying to catch my breath here. It actually takes more effort than you would think to get this plug in here, okay? And for those of you that have done it before, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the tails are there. What I ended up doing is a lot of twisting while pushing. That seemed to get it in there pretty good. So remember that space at the tip of this insertion tool? It had a space there for the plug to actually slip out between. So how that works now, you're going to grab on. You're kind of going to give it a half twist while pulling fast. There we go. So your plug is left behind. Alright, so that's one plug complete. Holy moly. And I'll take a box knife and cut those tails off even with the treads, but I'll let it sit there for now while we look at the other one. Alright, so moving on, we got our little screw friend right here to get out. Now I thought about using a screwdriver to get it out, it would probably be easier, but since it likely punctured in a straight line, I figure maybe I'll be able to get it out in a straight line as well. There we go. Little tiny mini screw, I tell you. Easy enough to puncture a tire. So same process, we're going to stick the rasp in, get the hole rasped and roughened up and ready for a plug. And I am not looking forward to putting a plug in this because this hole is tiny. So hopefully the rasp will make it a bit more manageable. Okay. And we'll get another plug ready. Alright, so I've gone ahead and got my plug ready. And we're going to try this now. I'm hoping the rasp has done its job. Give it an extra couple of little twists for good measure. And I'm going to hope that my technique that I used on the last one, which works again for me. I said pushing and twisting at the same time, okay? Let's find out. Whew. Alright, so almost in there. Whew. There you go. Alright, same deal. Quarter turn back and up, okay? No. Alright, there's our plug. And here's our other plug. They're actually closer together than I thought. Alright, so that's one. 2. Alright, so that is a plugging job done. I'll go get the box knife now and we'll trim these up. Alright, so all you're going to do, take your box knife, cut it down as level with the tire as you can. Alright, like so. You can barely even see that, right? And the other side is here. Just put the blade down even with the tire. Sawing motion through it. There you are. There you go. That's the plug. And the other plug. Alright, so the plugging is done. Let's get this tire back on the car and back into service. Also, just in case there's any of you out there that haven't taken on and off a tire before, when you're putting it back on, put it on with a star pattern with the bolts, okay, in the order that you tighten them. So you're going to start at 1, then you'll do the opposite, then you'll do the opposite of that, and then the opposite again, okay? Alright, so once you got the first round of bolts on there, you go back and retighten them again, okay? Because the wheel may have been on an angle, so that the first time you put it in, it might not have gone flush, okay? So hopefully by the time you tighten them all, the wheel has sucked itself into the hub enough so that it's all flush, and the final round of tightening will sink everything in tightly. On top of that, we are going to go with a torque wrench afterwards and make sure they are at OEM factory spec torque, okay? With this car, it's about 90 foot-pounds is what I put it at. I think the manual might say around 85 to 87, something like that, so I just go 90, all right? And round up to the nearest 10 is my general rule of thumb. As well, if you noticed, I cut a little bit out of the video, that's just to get rid of the compressor recharging. So we may hear that again. If you see another little jump cut, I'm just getting rid of the compressor noise for you guys. Alright, so here we go. And here comes the compressor. Oh, not yet. Alright, so that's it for the air hammer, so I'll take that off. And I'll put on the tire inflator. And written on the inside of the driver's side door, in the door jamb, this specifies 36 psi for this vehicle. So that's exactly what I'll put this on. Compressor may kick in again during this process. If it does, I'll see you guys on the other side of filling up the tire here. We're almost up to 30 here now. We're at 30. There we go, that's 36. Okay, I'm just going to tidy up this air hose and the air hammer, put a couple of tools away. We'll come back, lower this down, and get the torque wrench out on it, okay? Alright, so on this torque wrench, you got Newton meters on one side, and you got foot-pounds on another. Alright, I use foot-pounds, and most things do use foot-pounds, that I know of anyways. So what I'm doing, I'm pulling on this silver lock, and I'm turning the bottom handle, and you notice this is advancing up at the scale. I'm aiming for the 90 on this, alright, so it'll be 90 foot-pounds. And you can do partial foot-pounds, like, or 91, 92, stuff like that, using the numbers here. You line that up with the middle line. So once I get to the 90 area, I'm going to make sure the 0 is on the middle line, like so. So that's 90 foot-pounds. We're good to go. You go till your torque wrench gives you a little click, and then you give it one more for good measure. Slow, steady pressure. There's the click. Give it one more. There you go. And I don't need to tighten these a whole lot, just because the impact hammer puts it on at about 90 foot-pounds or so anyways. Alright, so again, advance slowly, steady. Slow, steady. And there you go. Torque to spec, inflated to spec. That's how you want to do it. If you're protecting your family, making sure that you're doing the work, make sure you're doing it properly, okay? Don't just put that hand tight as tight as you can willy-nilly and end up damaging the hub or something, you know, or breaking off a pin and your tire falling off because you over-tightened it, which is a thing. You can damage and pull out those pins or crack them off by over-tightening, okay? So always look at your user manuals and torque them to spec, and you should be okay. Alright, so here we are back where we started this video, except now we have a repaired tire, plugged tire. And you know what, I'm not a handy guy, alright? I didn't grow up as a handyman or do it all or fix it, Mr. Fix It or anything. These are all skills that I've learned, and it's just by choice Alright, instead of going the easy route and paying someone to do this, I personally decided to get tools, buy the kits, stuff like that, and do it myself. Okay, YouTube is such an amazing learning resource to learn how to do things, and you can do so many things yourself if you just go and try it. Okay, there we go. I probably just saved myself, what, 30-50 bucks and a long wait time. And yeah, so I got to bring you guys along for this little project. Again, like I say, sorry, material and content has been a bit lacking lately. I'll try to get back into making some more, but between work and family life, sometimes you get a little lull in content creation, and it makes it a bit difficult. So, you know, if you want to help keep that motivation rolling, like I say, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, ring the notification bell, leave a comment if this was helpful to you. All those things help us as content creators to stay motivated and know that you guys are enjoying the content. And I much appreciate your time that you spent watching this video. Hope you learned something, and if you get in the same situation now, I hope you can help yourself and save yourself some money, okay? So yeah, that's going to clue this up. Yep, I'm happy with this. Again, just to reiterate, torque to spec, inflated to spec, okay? If you're going on any big trips, always check your tires. A torque wrench is a great investment for your vehicle, okay? To be checking those lug bolts and lug nuts and making sure they are torqued to spec, okay? You don't want to be over torqued. You know, sometimes you get your tires changed at a garage, they'll just throw the air hammer, and they might have a massive air compressor that just wrenches those things tight as could be, and they may be over tightened and cause damage to your hubs or your pins. So have your own torque wrench, have your own tire gauge, inflate them to spec, torque them to spec, and you're already a step ahead of most people out there as far as car maintenance and safety goes, okay? So I can't stress that enough. So anyways, I'll hopefully get some more content to you guys soon, but until then, hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other, and peace out.